This is Tony from Carolina Dune Buggies. I get questions about pods, side pods. Well, in the old days, what they called old school, all the Dune Buggies had the black sides. It was unfinished, and we didn't have side pods, so that's the reason it was old school, because we just didn't have any. But now we have side pods. It makes it look more like a finished car. So what we're going to do today is we're going to discuss how to put a set of the Barry and side pods on one of the Dune Buggies. They'll fit the Myers Minks, they'll fit the Barians, they'll fit California Clippers, they'll fit most all of the buggy bodies, except for the ones that are really low slung on the side. So let's take a look and see how we do it here at Carolina Dune Buggies, bolting side pods on. Okay, here's the buggy that we'll be mounting the side pods on. This is a brand new Barian buggy. It belongs to Boyd Higgs. And we're going to mount his side pods today so you can see exactly how that's done. Okay, first thing you want to do is bolt your body down, but you want to leave a couple of bolts out because we're going to use all thread rod to go down through the body and the chassis and the side pod to hold it on. We'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. First thing to do is bolt your roll bar in and leave the front bolt of the roll bar out. Then you want to skip a bolt and leave another bolt out. And then also go to the front and you want to leave the second bolt from the front out. We're going to use all thread rod for these bolts to hold the body and the pod on. It will take 3 of these rods for each side pod. Okay, now we're going to weld the nuts on so that the rod won't turn. You'll be able to hold the nut on top and the rod will stay stationary. Okay, now we're going to grind these down a little bit, and so they'll be nice and smooth on top, and then we'll be ready to put these pods in. Okay, first we're going to go ahead and put our bolts in, our all thread rod bolts that we made with the welded nuts. Start with the roll bar in the back. Place that in the pre-drilled hole. That's going to go through the body, through the chassis, and stick below the body and chassis. Next we'll put our center bolt in that we made with the all threaded rod. Same procedure. And our front bolt. Okay, now our all threaded rod and bolts protrude below the chassis. We're going to use those to hold on our side pods. So they're going to go below the chassis for a couple of inches, and then we'll show you how to drill the side pods to bolt them up. Okay, our first step is to position the pod underneath the car and then set a little jack under it in order to help hold it up. So first we'll put it into position. Next, you'll want to take a small jack it up underneath the pod in order to hold it against the bottom of the buggy body, just to encapsulate it to help you hold it up so you can drill your holes. Our next step is to bore the front hole through the chassis, body, and the side pod. You will probably need a helper to hold the side pod from beneath the body in position. Next, place one of your threaded rods with a washer on top of the body through the hole and down through the side pod. This will hold it in position long enough to bore the other holes. Next, you'll want to bore the very rear hole through the chassis, body, and the side pod. This is the hole that's the front hole of the roll bar or show bar. And make sure your helper is holding it underneath in position. Next, insert one of the bolts that you made with the head, the nut welded onto it, through the pod. Next, you'll want to drill your center hole through the body, chassis, and the side pod, again with a helper holding it underneath to make sure that it stays in position. Next, you'll place a washer, a lock washer, and a nut on the threaded rod. And in order to hold the body to the chassis, you'll tighten it from underneath with an assistant on top to run it all the way up tight inside the wheel on a Varian chassis or underneath the bottom of a Volkswagen chassis. Next, you'll want to put the two remaining of the washers, lock washers, and nuts on the two remaining bolts, all threaded rods. Now tighten all three up, holding the body to the chassis. Next, from underneath, place a fender washer and a regular flat washer and a nylon nut, which is a lock nut, on the bottom of the pod in the three positions. And this will pull the pod up underneath the side or gun wheel of the buggy and encapsulate it to hold it up underneath. Next, tighten the bolts, taking care not to pull it up too tight and break the fiberglass pod. Now you've completed the pod installation. Move to the other side and repeat the same process.